true God, Allah, to bless, protect, honor, and compliment our beloved Prophet, our messenger, our role model, Muhammad, his family, friends, companions, and everyone that follows their way until the end of time. O Allah, include us from amongst them. Ameen. O Allah, respond to this prayer. Just a short reminder and reflection. There's obviously always so many big things going on, around the world. We have the fires that are still raging in LA. If any of you are afflicted, may Allah, may the one true God keep you safe and protected. And anyone that is, even if we are not, may God keep them safe and protected. We see what is going on in Palestine. We see the transition that our brothers and sisters in Syria are going through. We may have lost loved ones. We may be going through financial, familial, medical issues. And so there's always difficulties and challenges and struggles and, hurdles that we have to get across. And that is by design. That is by design. God, He reminds us in His revelation that وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, He says, very emphatically, we will, without a shadow of a doubt, test you. We will put you through difficulty. We will put you through struggle. We will challenge you. We will make life tough. But at the end of that, He tells us, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, congratulate the believers. Congratulate the believers. Those people that when they persevere through struggle, when they make it out of difficulty, when they go through the difficulty, their response, their mindset, their commentary, their reflection is, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It's a very common phrase, and so I want to spend a little bit of time on it. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Very often, this is one of those phrases that kind of becomes Muslim terminology, and thus we accept a bad translation. Inna lillah literally means we belong to Allah. We are Allah's property. Allah owns us, right? Meaning He is in complete control. He is completely in charge. It's His decision what He wants to do with us and when. وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ, and we will return back to God. We will all stand before God. I'm not going to be judged by my parents. I'm not going to be judged by, the LA mayor. I'm not going to be judged by the president of America. I'm going to be judged by Allah. So my response should be in accordance to what will be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so, no problem. I just want to make sure everyone can. The further is better? Okay. Okay, got it. No problem. Yeah. And so whoever's response that is, and that's obviously not just a verbal response, that I belong to Allah, I will return to the one true God, Allah, and thus I will act in that way. I will respond with patience, with perseverance. What does God want me to do right now? How do I remain obedient and devout to God right now? How do I keep my hope and my trust and my reliance in Him? And as a result, God, He says, those people that is their response, that is their mindset, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. Those people get the blessings, the grace, the compassion, honor, mention, nobility from God. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ, and those people are the ones that are rightly guided. And the one last comment that I'll make in regards to this, I had a student that was giving a presentation explaining some aspects of the story in the Quran, the story about Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, the story about Prophet Joseph, may God preserve his legacy. And one of the comments that she made was, in life, sometimes, we think about, okay, God, He decreed this, and this is happening, and this is what we're going through. And she very, in one sentence said, it's as if Yusuf, Prophet Joseph alayhi salam, may Allah preserve his legacy, was kind of not looking at what is happening, but more so who is the one doing it. Like whatever's happening in life, I got thrown into well. Forget about the well. Allah put me in the well. Forget about I was thrown into jail. Allah is the one that decreed for me in this place. I am now the minister of finance of the entire kingdom of Egypt. That's not the point. Allah put me here. So as if turning our attention from what thing did I get or was taken away, and who is the one that gave it to me, who is the one that took it away. So having this very God-centric focus, what does God want me to do? How do I please Him? And that will be the thing that will make me content no matter the gift I get and no matter the difficulty that I go through. May Allah, really allow that to settle into our hearts. Ameen.
I mean, thank you so much, Sheikh Mudassir. So let's go ahead and start off with questions. If anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'll come around the microphone. We do charge $10 per question. Just kidding, just kidding. We'd like to start us off. And again, we like to, of course, give preference to our brothers and sisters that are new to Islam or considering or looking into Islam.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam.
This out of context question. In Surah Al-Kahf, right? There's one of the four stories about Dhul Qarnayn, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala briefly talked about that. Yajuj and Majuj. What are they? Are they like monsters or something? Or are they like I don't know. Are they humans? Or
Yeah, so very good question. So Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they are from the human race. They are from the human race. The exact details about them, their exact location, their exact time period, these are details that Allah, God, did not tell us. And so Ya'juj or Ma'juj are also known as Gog and Magog within the English language or within Christian literature. Again, they are from the human race. How their details, race, ethnicity, location, those aren't details that we really know. But at the end of the day, they're from the human race. You just ask it again, just so everyone can hear.
why are they so intense? Like, it's been told like they can drain the whole lake, and doesn't sound very human,
Without making us sound crazy, you got some really intense people in our lives too, that is like, how did you do that, right? And so and that also maybe is not necessarily, perhaps, Allahu Alam, God knows, we don't know the exact detail. Perhaps that's also an allusion to just their number, as opposed to, it's not like there's 10 of them necessarily that drink up a whole lake. It's probably there are just massive in numbers. Like Allah, He describes وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. Like when they come, they're just, the whole horizon is covered. So there's just massive numbers. So that maybe that's an allusion to, or can help humanize the intensity.
Sheikh, thank you so much. Sheikh, some of us, it might be their first time being introduced to Gog and Magog or Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Can you give us just brief context? It's like a major sign before end of times, or?
Yeah, for sure. Ya'juj and Ma'juj, also known as Gog and Magog, we have it within they're mentioned in the Quran, in the statements of the Prophet Muhammad, may God bless and honor him. And if any of you come from a Christian background, or I'm assuming a Jewish background as well, they are also mentioned within both ancient history and also end of times history. So they were a group of people that were causing havoc in the past, and a pious, righteous ruler was asked by a group of people, can you please, save us and protect us from these people that are causing a lot of harm, mischief, corruption, evil, bloodshed. And so this righteous leader, in the Quran, he's known as Dhul Qarnayn, literally the one with two horns. Perhaps that's an allusion to maybe his helmet, or the fact that he had control over the east and west. And so he built a giant wall of some sort that kept them at bay. And then we know that later on, towards the end of times, one of the major signs, they will break through that wall, and they will again wreak havoc until they are again dealt with. That's very brief, and I'll keep it to that brief level because that's really the authentic detail that we do know.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, next question.
Gone over there?
Let's take on-site first, and then we'll come to shop. Just because as the questions come, the price increases per question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have a question for during like Ramadan, right? You know how during Christmas people give gifts even to Muslims to kind of celebrate Christmas. So during Ramadan, is there something we could do for our neighbors, like give them during the time of Ramadan? Like, and if we did want to if we could give them something, what would we give?
Great question. For any of you that are extremely new to Islam, Ramadan is a month that is coming up in 43 days or so. Basically, we're in the eighth month, or we're in the seventh month right now. The, and so it will coincide with basically Ramadan, the month, the ninth lunar month, which is the month in which the Quran, our last and final revelation of God, came. Is a month in which we fast for 29 to 30 days, so not eating from dawn to sunset. And again, that will start most likely on the eve of February 28th, and the first fast will be on March 1st, inshallah. That is what we are expecting. And that's a very good question. What is something we can do too? You mentioned neighbors, but I would extend, to anybody within our circle, Muslim or non-Muslim, right? Giving them gifts or sharing the experience of either the fasting and the iftar, the breaking of the fast, or Eid, the celebration and festival after. Beautiful, wonderful, right? This is a great, wonderful opportunity for me to share with my neighbor. Hey, I fast and I don't eat or drink anything from dawn until sunset. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may God bless and honor him, he taught us that it's good to break fast with water and dates. So I do that. Do you want a date? I don't know, just something like that. Or gifts, at the time of Eid, the celebration that we have on the first day of the next month, right after Ramadan is done. As to what you want to give, totally up to you. It can be, I know, in maybe the subcontinent Asian cultures or the Arab cultures, they're just very big on food, and who doesn't like food? So you can, if you have some food, go ahead and give them some food. Or I know some people, they may make certain decorations, or whatever the case may be. Don't maybe there are different people in your life who may appreciate different things, or different neighbors that may appreciate different things. So use your best judgment. If you have some ideas, I'm happy to listen and give thoughts. Or anyone else here. I'm sure anyone here ever give your neighbor or a family member a gift in Ramadan? Or yeah, so you got a lot of people to get some thoughts from.
Thank you.
So on that note, Sister V, great question. Previously, what we from the Dawah New Muslim group here at the mosque would do, we would make these Ramadan gifts. Yes, you remember, right, Sister Yvonne? So we make these gift boxes in a form of da'wah, or educating or informing or sharing Islam with our neighbors and our guests. And along with those gifts, they would have like dates and apricots, however you like to pronounce it, walnuts, and all these different things, right? And it's a really nice gesture, like as a gift. And we would attach a brief flyer about Ramadan, like what is Ramadan and things of that nature. We also have like an interfaith fast or event called Fast with the Muslim, where we encourage non-Muslim, whether it's family members or workers, to come and fast one day with us and have a iftar or a fast-breaking meal with us. So we are currently working on that right now. So for those of you, if you're considering, and I would hope everyone in here is considering to give a gift to your neighbor or family member, give us just maybe a week or 2 weeks, inshallah, God willing, we'll have something ready for everyone so that it's ready before Ramadan, that we can give it before Ramadan, inshallah, God willing. And number two, really quickly, of course, Ramadan is on the horizon, 43 days, nobody's counting, right? But for how many of you, our brothers and sisters that are new to Islam, will this be your first Ramadan? Just show of hands. First Ramadan, please. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Excellent. Nice. How about second Ramadan? This is your second time. All right, more on the brother side here. How about third Ramadan? Sister Jannah, third Ramadan? Okay, Melissa, third. Okay. How about like 5 years and above? Just really quick, probably the rest of everyone, right? Excellent. Perfect, inshallah. All right, excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just to kind of gauge our audience. Sister Dan, you have a question? 5 years? $5,000? You want to donate to the program? I'll take it. I'll let her word.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question. One of my aunts, she asked me about Prophet Muhammad to salam. Who is him? And I explained a little bit about it. And she's a very hardcore Catholic. So, is there anything on her book, Catholic book, that it will talk about Prophet Muhammad to salam? That's your knowledge. I mean,
No, yeah, that's a great question. Just to confirm, the question is basically: is there anything necessarily about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may God bless and honor him, within the Bible?
yes.
The Quran does mention, the final revelation of the Quran does mention that there are some allusions, but most likely they have either been taken out or changed or misworded and the like. So anyone that reads the Bible necessarily cover to cover, you're not going to see the name Muhammad, or you're not going to see an allusion to that. I would say in a sense, maybe the best introductory remark to them would just be, he's like Jesus, but just like we believe, Jesus never claimed to be God, nor is he God. So everything you love about Jesus and more is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the kind of simplest answer I could think to give.
Another question. My dad's cousin just passed away, and they sent me the information for the funeral service and all that, because my dad passed away already. So is it okay for me to go represent my dad, knowing that they're not Muslims, they're like Christians?
Yeah, that's fine.
What can I do in that case, like as a debuting in the ceremony, whatever they're doing?
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, sorry for your loss. May Allah give you the strength and patience and reward for going through, such a big difficulty. For someone in your case to go to the funeral procession or to go to the cemetery, all of that is totally fine. The one and only thing we are not allowed to do is if we know somebody passed away not having accepted Islam, then we don't pray for them. We don't pray for them, and that's it. Other than that, I can go to the cemetery. You can go and remember, this was how my dad was. We're all going to sooner or later pass, and to give reminders for yourself and your family. All of that is totally fine. The one thing that we should not do is pray for somebody who has passed away that outside of Islam. But going there, visiting, telling your family, he was a good person. Stay strong, things like that are totally fine. Totally fine.
Thank you. Sure.
We noticed more of the class growing, so we wanted to just slowly do it. But I appreciate it, Carlos and Danny. Thank you. Allah reward you. Inshallah. Thank you so much, Shaykh. Sister Erica, and then we'll come to Ahmed, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I know we'll learn this a bit later, but I just wanted to know for Ramadan, like
I can hear speaking, but I don't know. I can hear sound, but I can't hear anything.
I know later we'll talk about this, but for Ramadan, say there's someone who cannot fast. How do we go about giving to some like a meal for that person for the day or something?
Great question.
And do they have to be Muslim or can they be non-Muslim as well?
Great question. So the question is, if somebody is unable to fast in Ramadan, then what should they do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us that guidance in the Quran. وَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. That if anyone is not able to fast, and God, He gives two possible scenarios, although it's not limited to those two, of sickness or travel, then they would make it up at another day. So by default, if someone is in the situation of, I will be traveling for 3 days, or, I have 103 fever today, right? Then the default is not let me pay in charity. The default is once Ramadan is done, once I am healthy and able, then I will make up those fasts. And even any time of the year. If you want to choose to do it on, December 21st, the shortest day of the year, totally fine. If someone is then not able to either after that year, or they do not think maybe have a terminal illness, or they think, hey, I'll never be able to fast, then in that case, then they will pay that charity. And at the end of Ramadan, we don't need to do too much of the headwork. The mosque will already have a box outside that says fidya, and I think they'll probably do $15 per person. You just put however many fasts that you missed, that amount of money in there. But again, the default is unless someone is terminally sick or they think I will never be able to fast, the default should be I will make it up after Ramadan's done.
Like a chronic illness, and like the doctor's like, yeah, you can't be doing it, right?
Oh, like ever?
Well, no,
Just
like
to
just
confirm,
for
sorry.
like they said like, okay, you can't do it for the month, like you shouldn't be fasting. Then at that point, it's like, so you just pay for the whole month then, right? And just do like you said, the video.
So if you can just confirm for me
Like say someone has a chronic illness and the
Mhm.
doctor says you can't fast.
Oh, got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Then exactly. Then
Like this.
the at the end of the month, the mosque will have a box that says fidya, and you will just give for the 30 days. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry about not getting it the first time.
Shaykh, really quick, I'm so sorry, you might have just mentioned it, but for particular sisters that, or anybody that maybe had missed some fast last year, and they have to make it up, what's the procedure? Do they just have to do it before the Ramadan starts? Or if you can just shed some light on that. You probably already did, my apologies if I didn't hear that.
No, it's always good as a reminder. The recommendation would be, just for one's sanity, would be to make it up before the following Ramadan. So if you have missed fast from last year, then do your best to make it up before this Ramadan. There's some difference of opinion. I know Shaykh Muhammad Zahid and the other regulars here would probably be of the opinion that it has to be done by the upcoming Ramadan. If that becomes too difficult, then another option you could take would be before you pass away. Before you pass away. But so as a general rule of thumb, you don't want to be like, wow, I got 10 days to make up from like the past 3 years. Now I got to do a whole month, right? So the best thing would be just do once a month, or rack it up in December and January. Do your best to get them all done before this Ramadan starts. That way, when this Ramadan's done, if you do have to make anything up for this month or for this Ramadan, it's only a handful before the next year.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. I received this question at work from a customer, and I mean, I kind of answered, but I don't feel like I gave a full answer. It was very simple. He just said, why did God choose Arabic for Islam? What's so special about Arabic? And I think that's it, yeah.
That's
I think like whatever, inshallah, I'll be forwarding this video to them. It'll help answer their question. If you could just give us like your perspective, and also like from the deen, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it, or if it's an hadith, inshallah.
For sure. Right. So that question of, why did God choose Arabic for the language of his last revelation and for the language of, his final messenger, Muhammad, may God bless and honor him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just as a broad overview, questions like that are things that us as human beings, we're kind of like you alluded to, we're never going to know have a good answer unless God or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah bless and honor him, have explicitly told us. In which case, Allah did not tell us, this is why I sent it in Arabic. And the Prophet Muhammad, may God bless and honor him, never told us, this is why Allah chose Arabic as the language. All Allah really said is, we made it as a clear Arabic book so you understand. But that's less for humanity and more so for the audience of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That, may Allah bless and honor him, that my people, God sent this revelation in your language so you understand it. So that's kind of the background of God and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah bless and honor him, never gave us the exact reason. And so if we as human beings were to extrapolate, that was one of those things in God's divine wisdom. Perhaps it has to do with the absolute unequivocal beauty and depth of the language of Arabic. The way that the poetry, the way that the root letters, the way that the grammar and the rhetoric of the language works is, extremely beautiful, right? And not only that, I'll mention one other point and then kind of flip the answer a little bit. that language has really been preserved, and you can say, well, this is after the fact, but this language has been preserved like no other language, in the sense of, if I study classical Arabic right now, I am essentially transported 1,400 years ago. Where if you speak, like, in Egypt, in Syria, in Palestine, in, from Libya to Iraq, you'll speak Arabic, and that is still a relative form that is similar. But if you learn it properly, you are transported back in time. Whereas nowadays, there's nowhere you can learn English and be like, I can go talk to Shakespeare right now, exactly in his same dialect. That's just from reading, not from speaking. So that language was kind of frozen and preserved, that for that like 150-year period that version of the language was spoken. It's kind of like set in stone and has kind of been carried along in an academic endeavor throughout the years. So that's kind of a practical perspective. To flip the answer now is that question could be asked about the revelation being in any language. If God chose English, somebody from Arabia can say, why did God choose English? If God chose Chinese, somebody, or Mandarin, somebody would say, why did God choose Mandarin, or Spanish or Russian or whatever the language may be, right? And so this one of those things that is beyond our human comprehension, and we do not have an explicit answer from God or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhna. My question is,
there you go.
hi. My question is, what is Druze?
What is what?
Druze, D-R-U-Z, Druze. Is it religion or is it
You're saying like a
Stack?
group of people?
yeah, group of people? Druze. It's mostly common in Palestine and Syria and Lebanon.
They are a
Are they Islamic?
group of people that have some religious beliefs.
Okay. It's okay. My other question is, like for example, in the Christianity we have Catholic, we have Orthodox, we have Protestant, and so many others. In Islamic, what do we have? We have Sunni and Shia, or something else?
Essentially, that's one way you could break it down. Yeah, you have Sunni and Shia, and maybe you have some slightly other offshoots, but they would umbrella under Sunni and Shia for the most part. And we kind of went off into that tangent maybe 2-3 weeks ago, so I don't know if you want me to bring that up. Maybe it's best just to keep it at that. Anything else? Sorry, no. Okay.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have a question. I know that in the Quran it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent messengers to every nation. But do you think that there's a small possibility that Buddha was sent to the Asians, maybe? Like a really tiny possibility? I know he's not confirmed, but is there a possibility? Like
just to confirm, is your question, is there a possibility that Buddha was the prophet?
A tiny possibility.
Again, that's one of those things that at the end of the day, us as human beings could speculate yes or no. He's very adamant that the answer is no. Which is fine, if somebody really wanted to say yes, you could say maybe his teachings were drastically changed and converted and manipulated over time. Or when somebody says no, you could say, well, his teachings probably stemmed from something that he said. And at the end of the day, we don't know. I mean, is it a possibility? Anybody at some point could have been a prophet to their people, theoretically. Not really anybody. Anybody who's pious, right? Known to be good in that sense.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. We'll take a few here online. A number of people are streaming. Just want to say welcome and thank you for everyone taking time out online. Sheikhna, first question here, just maybe 2 or 3 questions. Assalamu alaikum. What is the significance of men having beards in Islam?
Great question. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah bless and honor him, he mentioned that there are 5 to 10 things that are within the fitrah, or the natural kind of human disposition. Among those things are, he listed, like trimming nails. He listed, when you clean and wash your hands, that, you get in between, like the grooves of your knuckles. And that, you clean your nose, that when you use the restroom, you properly clean yourself. If you have water that you use, water, that you trim your armpit hair, your underarm hair, that you trim your pubic hair, and the like. And two of those things that he mentioned within that category, the vast majority of them apply to both men and women. So everything I just mentioned, like, trimming nails, cleaning the underarm hair, pubic hair, cleaning your hands properly, rinsing the mouth, rinsing the nose, using miswak, brushing the teeth. And then two things that apply to men from, those 10 would be trimming the mustache, not letting the mustache, go into like beyond your lip, and kind of letting the beard go. So just describing. So if we want to put this into a category, you can say trimming nails, cleaning the underarm hair, trimming your pubic hair, using miswak, brushing your teeth, cleaning the mouth. We would all just generally categorize this as what? General hygiene. General hygiene. Like when you clean your hands, make sure you properly clean your hands. When you go to the bathroom, properly clean yourself. So in that kind of category about general cleanliness, hygiene, and presentability, he described that for men, make sure your mustache as an aspect of cleanliness and hygiene and spirituality doesn't go beyond your upper lip, and that you let your beards grow. And then we know that the prophets overall, did have beards as men.
The beautiful thing there, as I'm sure you know as well, Shaykh, just the beautiful aspect of us as Muslims knowing this over 1400 years ago, right? When the world was doing totally opposite. Even today, actually, right? The whole hygiene concept of how is what Islam says, what God has taught us and the Prophet Muhammad through his sunnah, right? About just general hygiene practices, right? That's amazing. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. One more question here, and I'll pass it back on the mic, on the floor here. Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to know if I disobey my parents, would Allah punish me? Example, my mother hates Islam. She doesn't accept me as a Muslim, and she hates it when I wear the hijab, the headscarf, but I still wear it. Your thoughts on that?
Great question. Firstly, may God make it easier for you. These are immense struggles that God will reward you for persevering and going through them out of His love and His obedience. The first principles that we start with are obviously what God Himself says in His final revelation. He says, as a general principle over and over again, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, be good, be excellent, go above and beyond in goodness towards your parents. That's like one primary principle. Second primary principle that he also adds on to that is وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. If your parents fight you, challenge you, argue with you to get you to associate partners with Allah that you know are not partners of God, then do not listen to them, do not obey them, but still respond to them in a soft, kind way. And then lastly, to sum it up, there's a teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may God bless and honor him, in which he says, "La ta'ata li makhluqin fi ma'siyatil khaliq." There is no, meaning obedience is not justified to creation if it's in the disobedience of the Creator. And so, if you are, as a Muslim, and if your parents happen to not allow that, or they refuse, or they stop you from doing that, that is not a case in which you listen to your parents. If you, as a Muslim woman, want to wear the hijab, the headscarf, or pray or fast or do anything that is a requirement from God, or you want to refrain from anything that is a prohibition from God, say eating swine or drinking wine, then the respect to the parents should be maintained, but not their obedience, not listening to them. If my parents tell me, don't pray or don't fast or leave Islam or drink wine or eat swine, respectfully, I will say, I will not do that. I cannot do that. I love you. I respect you. You want me to hug you? You want me to massage your feet? You want me to go and, get you soda? Gladly. I cannot disobey my God. As much as I love you, I will never disobey my Lord and Master. Again, may God give you strength to persevere and ease your mother towards Islam and allow her to accept.
Ameen, ameen. And I really appreciate the supplication, the dua, the prayer that we keep our brothers and sisters, particularly those that are new to the faith, because they're experiencing challenges that maybe someone who might have been born into a Muslim household, they might not experience. So we really appreciate that. Thank you. So we have about maybe 10 or 15 minutes for questions. So feel free. This will be a good time. If you have any questions, please don't delay. This will be the opportune time, inshallah. Sister Norma?
Assalamu alaikum again. At what age would recommend a teenager boy to start hugging girls because he's more closer in age to become a man?
Great question. At what age should we recommend not just boys but both young boys and young girls to not physically touch or hug the opposite gender? The rule by definition would be when they hit puberty. When they hit puberty. My advice, as well as many other people, and I'm sure other parents, would be, if your child just hit puberty and said, "Great, you can't hug girls anymore," it's like, wait, what? when did that happen? Right? So maybe as they start to get around the age, again, girls would hit puberty a little bit earlier, but maybe 8, 9, 10 is kind of when at least that thought should be introduced. And those boundaries can slowly kind of be enforced. And as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when a child hits 10, then separate their beds. If you have a bunch of kids that, imagine 100 years ago, not everyone has their own bedroom/bed. They're all sleeping on the same floor. He said separate between their blankets, basically. So maybe around that age of 8, 9, 10, when that thought can be introduced. But puberty would be the line. Mm-hmm. I think Alyssa has a question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So I had kind of a two-part question. Can you hear me?
Speak a little bit louder, though.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So recently I had like an encounter with door-to-door Christian evangelists.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked if they could give me some information. I told them no, thank you. And then they left. And then I thought about it later and I got kind of scared that on the day of judgment, could they ask me why I didn't even try to tell them about Islam or give them a flyer or do something?
That's a very good question. Before even answering that, you having that thought really just shows how much you embody, I believe in Allah and I believe in the last day, right? So before we even get to the answer, like either physically or mentally, just give yourself a pat on the back of like that belief is like real, right? What was it?
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank yourself. Thank you for being an example for us. Like that statement of yours should just echo it for all of us. Of just like, not saying that any of you haven't had that. I'm sure many of you have, but that really just goes to show that you really believe in the last day. May Allah always keep that belief in you and allow you to die and reward you for that. As a second thing, we sincerely hope that we are not held accountable for that. Maybe is there a slight chance possibility that's within the justice of Allah to make that so? But we would say if they are in kind of that method and mode of preaching, then hopefully, due to all the stuff available online and outside, the entire Dawah committee here, that access is there for them. That access is there for them. And so hopefully that burden does not fall individually onto me or you, right? But maybe, so I'll keep the answer there. Second is sometimes people may have that thought you have, which is a very good thought, and they may take it upon themselves to go into that realm of teaching and engagement, which in general is very good. But as maybe some of the people who've been here longer can say, those Christian missionaries probably not the people to engage with, because that is their like trained expertise, that they know how to, unless you are more trained than them, they will outcircle you. And so perhaps just out of wisdom, it may not be best to engage unless you're like Jamal over here, who can be like, you said this, but like I can and so we hope for that, that we hope that we are not held accountable. And as a general rule of thumb, if I'm It's not just I'm confident in my belief. I need to be confident in, for lack of a better word, knowing how to debate and argue. But maybe, in the future, maybe this is a recommendation for all of us. Maybe we do keep a little Why Islam pamphlet right at our front door. And you know what? I'm okay right now, but here you go. If they read it, they read it. If they don't, they don't.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I add a part
Yes,
two?
of course.
Okay, sorry. So sometimes I get scared that on the day of judgment, everyone I love will ask me why I didn't try to share Islam with them, or try harder, or wasn't a good example for them, which is terrifying for multiple reasons, right? And then on one hand, it's like I ask that if I can be used as any kind of tool or any means to bring them closer to Islam. But on the other hand, like I feel like I get very shy, and partly because I have had bad experiences, and also because I feel really insecure that I'm not ready, or I don't know enough, or I'm not even a good example. I feel like I'm always a work in progress. Is that
Yeah, from your last point, we're all the work in progress. Until we get into Jannah, we're all the work in progress. Until I get my foot into Jannah, there's someone could still come after me for a good deed or a bad deed, right? And so that shouldn't debilitate us or make us feel bad. We're all in a process of growing and becoming better Muslims. As long as we're on that trajectory, Allah, I want to be better. We're on a good path. So that's kind of to your last point. To your first point, I would say, you know what? You wear hijab, your family and friends know you're Muslim. And as long, and I'm sure you've done this, as long as you're like, hey, I'm a Muslim, you can talk to me about Islam. And that general message has been sent. Again, we hope that, that burden, for lack of a better word, is on them, that you've made yourself available, you've made yourself approachable, right? Because, and all of this comes down to wisdom. Allah, He tells us in His revelation, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'izati al hasana." Call to the path of your Lord and Master with wisdom, right? And it could be, you said you've had bad experiences, or it could be that maybe you tell somebody, hey, do you want to talk about Islam? And that may actually turn them away. So if you keep it like, I'm always available, I'm Muslim, my door is always open, you can call me, you can text me, I can bring you to IIOC. We hope that that kind of an open door policy will be sufficient. Will be sufficient. And if there's any kind of still hesitation, maybe you're like, I would don't put it on, I'm not the best role model or anything like that. You already became a Muslim. In that sense, you are a fantastic, role model. But it don't necessarily view it as, it's you and them, right? It could just be, you know what? You don't have to talk to me. Just there's IIOC over here. You can come there. You have any questions? Don't even bring me up. I am referencing you to this place that has helped me, and I hope it can help you. That way, if you're not feeling comfortable, then again, that's fine. And one last thing I will say is, for all of us here, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Ballighu anni walau ayah." Convey from me, even if it's one verse. As opposed to the Christian missionaries and the like, if you just saying, I really love God, I'm worried about the hereafter, I love the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is that any kind of that's not any kind of a theological debate about anything, but just that will put a thought into their mind. You love God, you love Allah. Who is that? Who is Prophet Muhammad? What is the Day of Judgment? What is Quran? Hopefully those are things that, and with an open door policy, or referencing them to IIOC, hopefully that will cover our bases. And may Allah forgive us for any of our shortcomings, and like you said, make us people who can teach people and guide people and bring people to Islam. I mean,
okay.
Right before we get to Shaykh, thank you so much. Literally everything you're saying, I was just thinking the same thing. So just to maybe highlight, bullet point, underline what Shaykh Mudassir said. A few things I would recommend is, as exactly what Shaykh said, outside, you guys know we have an Islam info table, the Da'wah table, brochures, English and Spanish translations of the Quran. I would encourage you all to always have something with you at all times, because you never know when you get that opportunity where it might be a missionary, it might be someone who's curious, somebody, whatever it might be. And in return, you say, you know what, have a nice day, but here's a Quran or here's a flyer. That goes a long way. So please always carry something with you at all times in terms of pamphlets. That's what we're talking about, right? Number two is regarding IOC and our outreach and New Muslim program. So for family members of our New Muslim brothers and sisters, if they're from other religions or friends or co-workers, as the Shaykh said, we have a space here, we have a platform here where we like to sit and have discussions, not debates, but discussions, fruitful discussions with guests of other faiths. So please do consider that and consider us for this, whether it's a tour, whether it's a class. You know, every week we're blessed to have guests from other faiths coming to learn more about Islam, right? And so this is a great platform to encourage them to come as well, inshallah, God willing. So thank you so much. We have Sister Myra.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
My question is kind of like, I don't even know where to start asking. For the last 10 years, I've been part of a community, indigenous community as a Mexican. We practice the indigenous culture of our ancestors. That includes ceremonies, dance, learning about the language, learning about the traditions that used to happen back then before colonialization. So my question is, now that I reverted to Islam, what's permissible, what's not, and are you familiar with the Mesoamerican indigenous practices so that maybe you can give me an answer? Because I love my community as well. I mean, I've been with them for 10 years, and I have not been joining for a year. To the practices, the dances, and pretty much everything. But I was wondering if it's still possible as being a Muslim, as still keeping my heritage.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. For your particular question, no, I'm not aware of the specific practices or anything like that, so I can't give you any kind of a detailed answer. But I'm happy to hear more from you. Maybe we can speak after at another time to kind of go through those details. As a kind of one liner, if it's not a religious practice ceremony, then it should be fine. If it's language, if it's culture, if it's dress, if it's food, if it's poetry or language or art or whatever the case may be, if it's not a religious practice, a religious ritual, a religious custom, then it should be fine. That's a very general thing. Sometimes maybe religious practices can creep into some other things, but as a general rule of thumb, if it's not a religious practice, we eat this kind of food, we speak this language, this is our history, this is our art, this is our this, it should be fine. But again, I'm happy to speak with you at another time and go through some of those nuances.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
3 weeks in your convert? How long is it? 3 weeks, right? And this is from Sister Meyer, who reverted 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, alhamdulillah. So may Allah reward you and bless you. Great question. We do have to call it a session there just because we have some announcements. And then, of course, Isha, the number 5 prayer. So please give it up for our dear Shaykh Mudassir. Mayet, please. Thank you so much, Shaykh. May Allah reward you and bless you. Thank you for simplifying the answers. Thank you for explaining it, translating it, any Arabic that you're using. We always greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And by extension, just want to thank everybody here for your wonderful questions. I say it kind of week in and week out. I can't express the importance of sessions like this, particularly for our brothers and sisters that are new. So please make sure to keep coming to our Friday and our Sunday classes. Big shout out to Alberto. Alberto was translating today, so please give it up for Alberto, inshallah. All right, so really quickly, number 1, of course, Isha, the number 5 prayer from the 5 prayers. The number 5 will be at 7:30, so in a few minutes. So we'll make our way inside the prayer hall. But then we'll come back. As you guys know, we have a Friday night program every Friday night. So tonight will be with Shaykh Muhammad al-Zahid, and it's going to be, I believe, about prayer itself, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be at 7:45 p.m. So I encourage everyone after prayer, which will be about 10 minutes or so. For those of you, if you're free and you're interested, we'll meet back inside here for the Friday night program. Number 2, as you guys know, part of our outreach is connecting with the community and seeing what are the challenges that the greater community faces. And so one of it, of course, it started during COVID or sometime after COVID, was our diaper distribution, where we give out free diapers for Muslims, non-Muslims, it doesn't matter, whoever needs the help. And so today was our diaper distribution. So I just want to thank all the volunteers. Some of you actually were here today to help out. May Allah reward each and every one of you for sacrificing and taking that time to help other people that might be in need. And literally, those that helped right now, there might be some toddlers, some kids actually utilizing those diapers right now. So may Allah bless each and every one of you. Thank you very much. Number 4 is, of course, Ramadan is on the horizon. Ramadan is on the horizon, maybe 5 or 6 weeks away, right? And so currently we are working on, of course, a number of different things, particularly for our new Muslim community. I know for some of you, it's your first Ramadan, or it might be your second Ramadan, etc. And so it's a lot of information, a lot of things to do. We're going to try to simplify it with a Ramadan workshop before Ramadan starts by maybe a few weeks. So that will help just to kind of how to approach Ramadan spiritually, but also the rules and regulations, if you will, as well, right? A kind of a good balance on that as well. And then the fast breaking meals that we're going to have, the whole Ramadan program, give us about maybe a few weeks. We're just kind of finalizing everything, and then we'll get it out to everybody as well, God willing. And remember the Eid day, the holiday. So once Ramadan concludes, we have a holiday, we have our new Muslim breakfast. So please make sure, don't make any plans. For our new Muslim brothers and sisters, don't make any plans, because we're having breakfast together as we do every year. And every year it looks like it just grows and grows. So please make sure if you make plans after our breakfast. So breakfast, we pray together, we have breakfast as a family together, and then we can go on to our business after that. Number 4 is, don't forget our Sunday class. We'll be with our dear brother Adam Al-Sayed this coming Sunday. And then also, if you're not following us on our Instagram, our IG, our handle is IIOC Dawah, DAWAH. Make sure to please follow us on that as well. And then lastly, this is our little donation box. So if you can help us offset our expenses, I would greatly appreciate it. You can, as we say, write a check for $1 million and just drop it in there, or you can just scan the QR code if you like and help us out. I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome, as we do week in and week out, guests that might be joining us for the first time, and today is no exception. So first, I would like to just highlight Carla. Carla, if you can just raise your hand. This is Carla's first time at the mosque and first time here in class. So welcome, Carla. Second, I want to welcome Celeste. Celeste, if you can just raise your hand. Celeste, this is her first time here in class as well. And guess, yeah. And Celeste, guess her brother is our dear brother Armando. Armando, if you can just raise your hand. Armando embraced Islam, and now he has extended that invitation to his sister Celeste coming. So to both of you, thank you very much for taking time on. Sisters, please make sure to welcome our guests here as well. And lastly, we do need some help in the kitchen. So if I can encourage you guys to help us out, I would really appreciate it. We have some food here, some desserts, cold drinks. If you want to make a plate right now, that'll be great. Outside of the class is going to be like $10 in the kitchen. So I'd rather make it right now and you'll be good to go. And then let's all meet for prayer. And then, sorry, the tables, of course. We're going to keep the chairs. We have to put the tables away if it's okay. So we have racks on both sides. The tables go on the racks. The chairs, if we can just keep it lined up, that'll be great. And we'll see everybody on Sunday. Thank you all very much, Shaykh Mudassir. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.